the point is, when you have to have a particular objective as a character, something that you have to achieve, you want to achieve, life and death situation you must achieve. You have to look at that objective in that way. And once you keep that in mind, in the acting, that is what brings the life to the acting. By going after that objective that you must achieve. It could be a simple thing, but it has to be, just for the acting purpose, very, very vital. And keep that in mind. I looked at the character as somebody who was being drawn out of a very easy lifestyle he had. He'd never done this before, never had a conflict with a prisoner, never had to shoot the gun at anybody. All of a sudden, this is what I created for myself. He has an office job as a lieutenant, but it's an office job. And apart from whatever training he may have had on a shooting range, he never had a confrontational thing with any enemy, so to speak. He doesn't expect it. And now here he is in this empty office, and everything he did not expect and never had before is coming at him. They're all outside, they're waiting for him, and he has to deal with it.
It's a goddamn siege.
When I go out to plant a sign, because we're moving temporarily into this area, this neighborhood, because they're fixing whatever at the station. So we're there for a temporary stay, and I'm posting a sign out there. And I look out, and all of a sudden, what I'm using for myself is the fact that I grew up in this neighborhood. I'm looking at places where, as a boy, I would play, I would chase around, you know, maybe I had a dog and everything. And now I'm here to protect the same neighborhood from possible danger. It was like two completely different things. That's what I was using. When I look down the street and I'm thinking, oh, okay. Now we're going to go back inside. So it was trying to make that work, to make that play. I'm looking at two different things happening, two different situations. John Carpenter was great. I love John Carpenter. He's very quiet, very bright. He's also a musician. Yes. His father was a very well-known classical musician that taught at the University of Louisville, Kentucky. His dad.
And he did the score for.
He did the score
he does the score for all his movies.
Yes, because he writes and reads music.
Incredible.
Which I do also, but I don't play.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just theoretically. I can play the drums, and you know, I'm
okay.
a percussionist. First of all, the casting is the job of the director. The people who write the script or whatever may have had in their mind a particular type, kind of person, but the director makes that final decision because he has to guide the whole thing through. And the director decides who he would choose or not choose. It's not the writers who choose that. So when you go into audition to read for a part with the director, that's the final read with that person, who the director is. And he is going to be looking for what you can bring to the character as he sees it. It's always his final decision, what goes up on the screen or whatever it is. So absolutely, the director makes that choice. So the term typecasting is not offensive because you have to be the type for what they want. It doesn't bother me at all. One of the schools, first of all, I was raised in the Caribbean, Trinidad, and there was a particular school, Nelson Street Boys RC, it was like a Roman Catholic. The principal of this school, I've never met. His name was, I knew it was Mr. Roberts, I never met him. He was an aspiring playwright. And he would write plays, and all of the schools in the district, in the area, would perform these plays that this gentleman wrote. I never met him. And we were 11, 12, 13 years old, doing these school plays. And they were written very strangely. It wasn't written the way plays are written today. There was one play written by Mr. Roberts called Two Sides of the Picture. It was a story about these two boys who grew up. One was good and one was bad. And their parents were in the play also. And There was a scene where one of the boys he stole something. It was a court scene. And in the court scene, his mother has to show up. And the mother was played by another boy, another student, who they put into a dress, a red dress. And he walked in to the scene, and all ended because everybody fell out laughing. He was wearing high heels and he was stumbling. Because this young boy in high heels, wearing a red dress, it was so insane. And we were about maybe 14, 15 years old. This kid we only walked in, wearing a red dress with high heel shoes, playing the mother of the bad boy. Okay? We played all the different roles. It was strictly the boys' schools. If you had a girl's part, the boy had to play it. Darwin and I belong to a workshop called Theater East, right here in Los Angeles. Called Theater East because those who started the workshop were from New York, from the East. So they called it Theater East. And Darwin was a member in the workshop. And he introduced me to John Carpenter when he was about to do Assault on Precinct 13. He mentioned to John Carpenter that he knew somebody in the workshop that might be right for the role, which was me. And that's how I met John. And went him at lunch somewhere, and he spoke, and I said, well, so where's the script? Want me to read? He said, no, you don't have to read, you got the part. I said, okay, let's go. And that's the story of it. Darwin Justin passed away too soon. I cannot see it from the point of view as the audience sees it. See what I'm saying? But what was being played by me at the time was the fact that here I've spent some time with this person who is a killer. But he has changed because of his meeting with me. And now I have to bring him out and hand him over to the law. And he will be put in jail for life or executed or whatever. So using all that is what created the emotional setting and belief that we had to have. Because this man, even though he is a murderer, we bonded together while he was in prison under my charge. And I bring him out now to hand him over, and he'll be gone. And why it affected my characters, because I've been working in an office. I'm a young police officer, not even police, it's the highway patrol. And I'm thrown into this situation that I've never been in before, and somebody's life or death is in my hand. And you throw all that together in your head, and then you work from that, you know. It gives you the ability to believe it. As we're coming out, one of the cops attempt to move him, and I grab, leave him alone, and push him away. That was not even in the script. No, it was making me weird now thinking about it. It's dangerous acting. The fact that I knew them before we did the film. When they went into work, it was maybe a couple of hours before I did, to put the makeup on, because it took a while to put that makeup on. So when I go in on the set, they're already in makeup. If I had not known Roddy McDowell or Paul Williams prior to the movie, I would not have known what they looked like. Because all I saw all day was them in this mask. Paul Williams and two other actors playing Apes are up there. And Paul Williams has the lines, not the other two guys. And it's me, and I forget who the other actors were. We're coming up and we have a scene with them. And they're sitting on a rock. Well, maybe it's that beam there, maybe about that high. And as the director, G. Lee Thompson, gives the cue, says action, and we start to walk. Paul Williams and the other two apes stand up and begin singing, "Stop in the name of love." And we completely broke. We had to stop shooting for the day. before you break my heart.
Really? You had to stop?
Yes, we stopped. We couldn't go because we were laughing.
So you had to come back the next day and get it again?
Yes. You know, they just stood right up. Stop in the name of love.
Oh my
before
gosh.
you break my heart. I'd love to see Pat again. We had a great time working together. He was a kid, and he did very, very well. I don't think I'd recognize him. There's something I'd like to mention about that scene that just came to mind. Maybe you didn't notice it, but I held a cigarette in my hand the whole time. I didn't smoke in those days, but I always had a cigarette in all the scenes and always about to smoke, and something would stop me. I set that up until the very end. Put it in my mouth and I took the light, whatever it was, as the camera was about to close on me. I'm lighting it. But always had a cigarette. It was a low-budget film, but of course we had fun doing it. You know, I mean, we make it fun. You know, we have to find some way to inject humanity into it. You know, the humanness. In other words, otherwise, it'll be difficult to do it. You have to believe what you're doing. You know, that is actually happening with you, to you, and by you.
Regardless of budget.
Regardless, yes. What do I find enjoyable about acting? Good question. I would venture to say that any actor will give it a similar answer: the opportunity to please an audience emotionally, and with your interpretation of someone else's words. Make them your own. The same as a musician does, you know, often with notes on the staff. Personally, having acquired experiences in other areas of jobs, working as a department store clerk, car wash attendant, a lawyer secretary, I've been in the U.S. Army, nightclub performer, musician. I would say that I absolutely enjoy, most of all, beyond any doubt, the process of acting, of bringing to life a character other than myself, with somebody else's words. Crazy, isn't it? But that's the truth.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you once again. I really appreciate you taking the time
Thank you.
to interview with us.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you.